Hi all, Dr. Walinski here. I wanted to do something here to show you how to grow your own sprouts. And that sounds kind of silly, like why do I need a tutorial to grow my own sprouts? I'll tell you why. The first time I ever tried to do this, I bought a kit. I bought something online and I had a lid and it had a screen. The thing was that the holes in the screen were too big and the seeds from the broccoli sprouts fell through. So now I had to rig something else up. I had to buy some screen. I put that in there because the holes in the screen weren't quite as good or weren't quite as large. And then it became a nightmare to try to harvest them because I had to use a blade to cut them off because the holes in the screen kept the roots of the broccoli sprouts stuck down there. At one point, I don't know how many times, maybe about a half a dozen times in, I opened the door of my office where I was growing the sprouts because there's a lot of light there. And oh my gosh, it just stunk. It smelled so bad. They got moldy and there was that smell from the sulfur, which actually brings me to the point. A few weeks back, Prostate 180 in the Monday brief, you may or may not have read this, but I talked at length about the benefits of broccoli sprouts versus broccoli. And I just wanted to quickly go over why we're doing this. So these little sprouts here, they're amazing. If you let them grow, they'll grow into full-on broccoli plants, which are cruciferous vegetables. So these are also cruciferous vegetables. Cruciferous vegetables are one of the best things that we can eat for our prostates. And the thing is that there's a chemical in these broccoli sprouts. It's called glucoraphanin. And glucoraphanin it turns into or it excretes sulforaphane, which is the best antioxidants, are really, really powerful in really, really high concentration in these sprouts. And it works directly on your prostate. And sulforaphane is one of the strongest antioxidants that we know. It's very, very powerful. It's an antioxidant. It works directly in the prostate. It increases detoxification, and it also it cuts down one of the pathways for inflammation. So it's really, really powerful in the fight against prostate cancer. Now, when I wrote the article, I got several comments, and a lot of the comments were the same. I can't afford broccoli sprouts in the store. And I'm laughing because it's been a little while since I bought them, but my goodness, yeah, it was, I went to a couple different stores, and for about 2 ounces or 3 ounces, it costs about $5 or $6. So, you know, we're talking about $2 or $3 an ounce. When we grow these sprouts, we end up getting, I measured it, it's about 6.5 ounces of sprouts per jar. You can see this is just packed full. I'm shaking, nothing's happening. It is packed full of broccoli sprouts. So how do we do this? You can buy expensive kits online, or I'm sure you even have wide mouth ball jars in your cupboard, in your basement somewhere. When we used to can, I'd had a ton of these. I didn't have any. I have some dark ones for something else I was doing, but I didn't have any of the jars. I made the mistake of buying the cheap jars online. And why I say mistake is that it rusts. I don't know if you can see the rust around this ring or rust around this lid. The cheap jars have, I don't know what this is made out of, but it rusts. This doesn't rust, this does. So spend a little extra money. Normally there's 4 jars in a cycle. I usually have one where I'm just starting, and then one that's ready to go, and then there's a couple more that are in various stages. And normally what we'll do is have a jar about every, I don't know, 3 or 4 days ready to go. And there's only 2 of us here, but you may need more. How much does it typically cost? Like I say, anywhere from like $2 to $3. So something like this, 6.5 ounces, what is that, $13 or $20 for a jar of this size. And when you do it, what you're gonna do is, I use this brand. I'm not really big on endorsing products. However, this is organic. This is a 2-pound bag, and it costs you roughly $12, $13 a pound. Now, what does that mean? So what I did was I measured out how many tablespoons are in a pound, and I came out with 45 tablespoons in a pound. We're going to use about 1.5 tablespoons per jar, so that comes out to about 30 jars. So 1 pound is going to make you about 30 jars, and each jar is going to save you about, what, 15 bucks, something like that. And how much does it cost? Each tablespoon is about 35 cents. So a tablespoon and a half is about 50 cents. It's going to cost you 50 cents a jar. You could do this every single day. You'll need more jars, so your upfront cost will be a little bit more. But I mean, you can go into business selling sprouts for all you need to buy these little screens. They're about $1 a piece, $1 a piece online, or you can spend $3 a piece and get the plastic ones that have the screen and the ring on them. I've never used them, but that would be another option. So what do? We take literally 1 tablespoon and about 1/2 tablespoon. That's it. All right, this is how difficult this is. And this is compared to the other methods where you're going to end up getting mold and you have to cut them off. I use filtered water, and yeah, I know this is like really, really tough. That's it. I put that in there, put the lid on it, and then tomorrow, there we go. Tomorrow, this will be ready to drain. Now, how does that drain? I'll just show you now. We'll take this and we turn it upside down and we drain the water out. Now, the interesting thing is, and you wouldn't think there's so many tips and tricks to all this, but if you hold the jar this way, no water comes out. When you turn it this way, that's how it drains better. So try to drain all the water out. And then at this stage, it's all gonna stick up here. So I just try to get it around the rim of the jar, and then I'll put this by the window just like that. So as we're going along, how often do you do this? I do it every morning before I go to work, and every day and every afternoon when I get home. I just put a little bit of water in. Get the sprouts. This one's about 3 days old, I guess. And you can see that they're actually, they're sprouting. They're not just brown seeds anymore. You're starting to get some sprouts. Try to get everything wet. This is literally the process that I do, but I usually do it over the sink. Empty it out, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm holding it straight up and down. It stopped, but if you turn it at an angle, more water comes out. So make sure you try to get all of the water out of these jars. And I mean, this shouldn't cost you more than a few bucks to get started. I spin the jar around and try to get some of the sprouts around the outside. And I just, for example, today, I think because I do so much searching online for different sprouts and seeds and things, I saw an ad for, there's a company that makes these special sprouting apparatus, and I don't know how much they cost, but it said if you buy $100 worth, you get, a coupon for something. This is not going to cost you $100. This might cost you $30-some to buy. I buy radish sprouts, alfalfa sprouts, clover sprouts for my wife. It's not going to cost you much to get going. You probably already have the jars in your cupboard, as I say, or in your pantry, and you're going to end up being able to eat delicious sprouts all year long. If you have any questions about this, I'm going to put up some like a punch list on the Prostate 180 site, so that you can get all the components that you need, and then you're off and running, because this could not be easier. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you online. Thank you. Bye.